All right, let's get right into it. Today, we've got a classic David versus Goliath story, but for the world of AI coding. In one corner, you've got the free open source challenger from Google, and in the other, the reigning champ, a professional grade tool that can cost you up to $200 a month. This is going to be good. So, here's the big question on everyone's mind. Can a free tool actually hang with the big dogs? We're putting them head-to-head in a real-world coding race to see if Google's new and improved Gemini has what it takes to maybe, just maybe, unseat the paid favorite Claude code. So first up, let's meet the challenger, Gemini CLI. Now, you might remember when this first dropped a couple of months back. It was pretty good, sure, but nobody was calling it a Claude killer. Not yet, anyway. But, Google's been busy, pushing out some major updates, and Gemini is walking into this fight with some serious new muscle. And what's its biggest weapon? It's this number. 1 million. That is a huge number of tokens. In the AI world, that's basically its memory, its context window. And trust me, for Gemini, this isn't just an upgrade, it is a total game changer. I mean, just look at the difference here. It's kind of staggering, right? Gemini's 1 million token window is 5 times bigger than what Claude Code is working with. So what does that mean for you as a developer? It means Gemini can hold an entire massive codebase in its head all at once. That's a ridiculous advantage for any complex project. And it doesn't stop there. Gemini CLI is totally free, it's open source, it's got Google Search baked right in, and it integrates directly with your IDE and GitHub. Honestly, if you're paying for Claude right now, you have to admit, this feature list makes Gemini a pretty compelling alternative. Okay, so introductions are over. It is time for the main event. And to make this a totally fair fight, we're giving both of these AI agents the exact same task, the same tools, the same references. Everything is identical. We're talking about a completely level playing field. And this isn't some simple hello world test. Nope. The challenge is to build a working clone of a real popular app, Monarch Money. This is a proper real-world test of their coding chops and their ability to build a user interface. And just to really hammer it home, look at the rules. The prompt they get? Identical. The UI screenshot they have to copy? The same one. The tool used to check their work? Exactly the same. There are 0 advantages here. No excuses, so let's get to it. First up to the plate is our challenger, Gemini CLI. The clock is ticking as it starts this pretty ambitious task of building a whole application from scratch. And Gemini gets off to a really solid start, actually. It gets the project set up in about 5 minutes. But then, around the 20-minute mark, it just hits a wall. It runs into this recurring type error and gets stuck in this frustrating debugging loop. After a full 40 minutes, it finally spits something out. A functional, but, very minimal UI. Okay, so Gemini set the bar at 40 minutes. Now it's time to see if the paid pro Claude Code can do any better. It gets the exact same prompt, the same resources. Let's see how the champ handles the pressure. And, you're not going to believe this? Here's the twist. About 15 minutes in, Claude Code runs into the exact same type error that totally stumped Gemini. This is huge. It proves the problem wasn't some fluke. It was a genuine coding hurdle that both AIs had to clear. So the real question is, how does the pro handle it? Well, this is where that professional polish really starts to show. While Gemini was just spinning its wheels, stuck on that error, Claude Code identified it, debugged it, and solved the exact same issue in just 5 minutes. That kind of efficiency, well, that's what you're paying for, right? So both attempts are in. It's time to go to the judges' scorecards. And I gotta tell you, the results of this showdown were a lot closer than anyone really expected. Let's break down how it all shook out. On the clock, Claude was twice as fast. It finished in about 20 minutes to Gemini's 40. And that really came down to error resolution. Claude's 5-minute fix was just way more efficient than Gemini's struggle. But what about the final product, the UI quality? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Here's the most revealing part. At the end of the day, neither AI actually managed to clone the Monarch Money app. Claude's first try looked a little better, sure, but when it was asked to refine it, the design actually got worse. Gemini's was super basic, yeah, but at least it was functional right out of the gate. So, who won? Officially, by a pretty thin margin, the winner is Claude Code. But this was absolutely a victory on points, not a knockout. The win came down almost entirely to speed and that one moment of efficient debugging. It was not some decisive display of superior skill. And that brings us to the most important question of all, right?
What does this actually mean for you, the person watching, the developer? Because the outcome of this fight signals a really big shift in the AI coding world.
I mean, think about it. When you look at Gemini's whole package, its performance was just astounding for a tool that costs $0. You factor in that massive context window, the fact that it's open source, and how fast Google is updating it. The value proposition is just incredibly strong.
And really, this is the bottom line. The big story here isn't that the $200 tool won. The real story is that the free challenger got so darn close that the victory was just narrow. That gap between free and paid AI assistance, it is shrinking, and it's shrinking fast.
Which leaves us all with this final question to think about. For years, paying for a premium tool bought you a massive leap in capability. It wasn't even a question. But now, with free tools getting this good, you really have to ask yourself, is that narrow little performance edge still worth the hefty price tag? The answer, well, it's not so clear anymore, is it?